What's up, everybody? It is that time again. It's D to the J with the roll away. And we are live for the first premiere episode of My CP Does Not Define Me. That's right, it's Wednesday at 2 o'clock. Formerly the Sports Minion Radio Show. Now My CP Does Not Define Me. Changes going on in the world. And I have a very special guest this lovely afternoon since it's not raining and I wanted to bring some sunshine to my day. I'm going to bring her in, Miss Edwina Wilson, the CEO and founder of Kelly's Choice Cares. Miss Winnie, how you doing today?
I'm good, DJ, and yourself?
Girl, I'm hanging in there like a rubber chicken on a rope set on fire.
Lord Jesus, a rubber chicken. Okay.
Yeah, burning rubber, baby, burning rubber. That's right, that's right. So I want to welcome everybody as you come in. I'm going to let y'all know ahead of time, this show is going to be very real. This show is all about CP, all topics about CP, anything covering CP, if I choose to talk about it. And we're going to cover a lot. We're gonna have a great show today. The first thing that I want to cover and I want to go ahead and bring up is this wonderful virtual World Cerebral Palsy conference that we just had for the past 8 days. And I want to say first off, this conference has changed my life. I have gotten so many notifications and so many messages and so many, there were so many videos done by these speakers and they were done so well. The stories just changed my heart and the reflection of life and what has happened. This conference to me has put CP back on the map. And I really think that a conference like this, you look at this virus and these times that we got going on right now with everybody being home and everybody having a chance to tune into this thing, we hit a home run with this. Miss Winnie, just what were your thoughts just as a whole on the conference itself?
Well, one, it was truly it was just a blessing, first of all. It was just a blessing. Because after doing the conference locally for 2 years and hearing so many people that want to be involved in it but can't because they live long distance. They don't live nowhere near us.
Mm-hmm.
And being able to say, okay, after keeping those people in my mind, and we was going to do the local/virtual anyway this year, but to make it just virtual and have people from all over the globe to join, it was the most phenomenal thing that ever could have taken place. So my thoughts to it was being able to have a platform to give people opportunities that have cerebral palsy to be able to share their journey that may not have been able to do it at all at one point or never do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a blessing. It's just a real blessing to be able to give people that opportunity.
Now there was a little bit of a struggle with the amount of days you were struggling between 5 and 7, right? Because you were trying to figure out what you wanted to do with 5 to 7, correct?
Right. So when I first said, okay, you know what? So I'm gonna cancel the local part, keep the virtual part of it. So in my mind, I was like, okay, normally, we do 1 day local. And so something just said in my mind, well, when you're going virtual, you can do it so many days, and that way you can give more people opportunities. So I said, okay. So the first thought came to my mind was Friday. Friday to Friday. And then some say, nah, just do it Friday to Wednesday. You'll be all right. But then Friday to Friday came back again. And I was like, And I remember sharing that moment with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
I said, I don't know. I'm going to think about that, DJ. DJ, and you said, Miss Winnie, just go for it. Just go for it, Miss Winnie. So I said, I don't know. I'll think about it, DJ. So my came, you know what? Just go on and do it. Go on and do it 5 to 7 days. Well, Friday to Friday. And I did. And I'm so glad I did. So glad I did. It was a blessing.
You honestly, and this is what a lot of people don't realize, the behind the scenes work for all this. I mean, creating the flyers and getting the people ready. Your hand must have been cramping because I saw you writing on that little calendar trying to get everything in, and your inbox blew up. I mean, it was everybody was just emailing you left and right to get in, and you were feeling because we went from the first afternoon slot was 12 to 2. We had a break from 3 to 4. Excuse me, from 2 to 4, and then we went from 4 to 6. So you were trying to fill them slots up, but them emails were coming in left and right.
Yes. Oh my gosh. We had Brazil, we had Connecticut, Oregon, um, California, Maryland, Oklahoma, Texas, Ohio. Just to say, we it was global, just like I put in the title, global, and it did exactly what I wanted to do. So people were texting and emailing and inboxing it. It was just so phenomenal. It was a blessing to be able to have people see this and see as an opportunity for them to share their story and jump right on in and do that. So yes, I'm so glad we did that.
I was my big thing was I was looking at the whole the conference as a whole, and as you talked about the opportunity that we had, to really go through this thing and say, okay, you know, this is going to reach so many people. But in turn, I think this conference actually is exactly what it says. I think it is one of the greatest uh, things that we could do as a whole to reach CP in general, um, and to really get CP back on the map. And I just I look at this and I see the people that have reached out. I see the people that have gone and saying, I had a chance to tell my story live on the radio on www.letgo radio and on uh, uh, we used Be Live was the platform, but it was such an amazing thing to see the outpouring of people that wanted to have their stories heard. And I just I mean I look at this the outpouring of people that wanted to have their stories heard. How can that not touch you and say, man, this really is putting CP back on the map?
I think that I think it gave such a phenomenal opportunity, and I think I think cerebral palsy need the notice.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I feel it's one of the it's one of the most childhood conditions out there. Um, so why not? Why not give all these people an opportunity to keep sharing and sharing and sharing? And my favorite word is it takes a village.
Mm-hmm.
So it takes a village, and by doing it globally, it's going to continue to build that village, build that tribe, and people come together and want to be a part of togetherness and make it bigger and bigger and keep growing and growing because now they see opportunities where they can share their story where at one point they may not have, and that way we can keep it going. We can keep it going, and if somebody else just share it and be a part of it, make it grow, just keep growing and growing. And I hope that and of course, when I closed out, I came back with something else. So we're going to keep doing this and keep spreading the word and keep giving opportunities.
You know,
So that's what I'm looking forward to.
I look at and you've said it takes a village as long as I've known you. Hey guys, as you join in, thanks for joining in to My CP Does Not Define Me. I appreciate it. uh, I look at this and I think that some have said I'm in awe over the whole conference itself, and really that's a good word because it is the most that is the most emotional I've been in probably the last 10 years, and it's heart wrenching because it affects just in uh, just in the United States, looking at a number 375 million or I mean 375,000 people, and that may be actually just in Virginia. But I mean, I'm looking, trying to figure out how how could you not be touched by something like that, because it's something that is that is needed. You mentioned it before. It's needed, and once people see that cerebral palsy is back on the map, and these people are living somewhat, I mean, what I would call normal lives, because in my definition, there is no normal. But I really felt a sense of normalcy because so many people of different cultures, different countries, Brazil, Australia, we had Oklahoma, Nevada, North Carolina, South Carolina. I mean, and they just kept coming. I think that it. I want to change the world's complexion of what they see as cerebral palsy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to think of. I don't want it to stop to see cerebral palsy and say, okay, I'm not going to talk to him because, or I'm not going to talk to them because. I don't want people to be afraid of it. And I think this conference helped to realize you don't have to be afraid of cerebral palsy to understand it.
I think that my whole goal for this thing is education and awareness. And you just made me think of that when you said that. Education and awareness. And that's what it's all about, because everybody's journey is different. So everybody's journey is going to educate somebody. Everybody's journey is going to bring awareness to somebody. Why? It's going to educate those that don't understand cerebral palsy or don't understand that person that they're looking at. And it's going to educate them and bring awareness because, one, you didn't think they could do anything. So now you're hearing them and, oh, now I get it. And then as you look at them and you're judging them off the way they walk, or if they're in a wheelchair or using a walker, now you're like, oh, so not only does she or he walk, they walk a little different, but they're educated, they're smart, they know what they're doing, they know what they're talking about. And now they what? Inspiring the world. They're bringing awareness to the world. They're educating the world on cerebral palsy because there's so many levels of cerebral palsy.
You just said something, and I want Facebook Live to think about this as they're coming in, and I want the world to think about this. You said 3 words: inspiring the world. That right there is more true of this conference. I think that those 3 words right there sum it up. As far as looking at the world, we cannot see the world as labeled. I've talked about this before, and as I said on this show, we're going to get real fast. I'm not going to pull no punches, and there was a realness to this conference that you can't hide. Okay, there were people that were speaking for the first time, and they were scared, and you could see it. I mean, it was, but pushing through fear and that realization of getting that out there is 100%. Charles and Debbie being able to speak. I mean, and you see, people have, speech impediments and problems. There were fathers that spoke about their children. That is heart wrenching to want to have a better life for your kids and want to make your kids happy, but also towing that line of when your kid doesn't do something properly, he gets disciplined. I mean, I ain't talking about beating him to death. I'm just saying you got to discipline your children, and you got to realize that just because I have CP does not mean I can't get married, does not mean I can't have children, does not mean I can't work, or does not mean I can't live in a house and make money, and have what is what is called a normal life. And I feel that your vision of the village and to launch this conference was one of the smartest decisions and the best conference I've ever seen. Because I thought last year's Cerebral Palsy conference was good. I mean, I said, and it was, but there's something so different about allowing this to grab a hold of people and reach in and tug at the heartstrings. And I think that was powerful enough to me. I mean, I was bawling, half the time because I was so touched by the stories, but I love it because it's a realization now that we're not just going to sit there. That because I have CP don't mean I'm going to sit in my chair and do nothing. I'm gonna move on, with my life and do the best I can. While Miss Winnie is on here, I want to share just a little bit of my journey with CP, and I want Miss Winnie, after I'm finished, to talk just a little bit about Kelly and Kelly's choice and her journey with CP. My journey with CP, I'm 38 years old and I have spastic cerebral palsy. My cerebral palsy affects my lower and upper extremities. I cannot walk by myself, but I can walk on a walker and crutches. I've had 8 surgeries, nine surgeries on my legs and eyes and head, and a couple of other surgeries that I've had as well. But my biggest issue, I am wheelchair bound. I am in a chair unless I am in the bed or in the restroom. And if they invent a chair that I can sleep in, which they do have now, I'll probably sleep in it too. But no, I like to get out of my chair and things like that. I was told when I was born that I would have a 10% chance of living, that I wasn't going to make it, that I would be a vegetable. I would be nothing. The whole doctor's story, and it's amazing of that thought. That was kind of back in the 80s. That was kind of a regular statement made by doctors. They saw a child with cerebral palsy or any disability for that matter, and they were automatically classified as, oh, this child is not going to be. Now, I will tell you, from the adversity that I've had, from the surgeries that I've had, a lot of the surgeries have helped in some ways, and they have not helped in some ways. But what I want to mention about this, doctors don't know everything. You have to be very careful with doctors, because yes, medicine is great and surgery does help, but you also have to support yourself and your support system, the village that Miss Winnie talked about. Having a support system, that critical support of someone supporting you and fighting for you, is very, very important, because in this world, you cannot take this world on by yourself. The world is too big of a place to take on by yourself. And it gets to be very scary, very fast, especially when you're a parent, especially when you're a person with CP and you don't know where to go. There are tools, there are things, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit later in the show. But my journey basically is, I'm a black belt in karate. I've been training for 10 years. I have a show, Cooking with Carter, on YouTube. I've been cooking since I was, goodness gracious, probably for the past 10 years. I'm married to my wife, Emily. I have, I'll tell you right now that cooking basically brought us together. She, when I was courting Emily, I would say, oh, I'll cook you this, I'll cook you. Oh, will you teach me how to do it? Yeah, sure, I can teach you how to do it. And we would go through, and she would look at some of the episodes, and we would email back and forth. And she told me in the emails that it gave her motivation and it gave her, inspiration to try on her own and to learn. So, I mean, it just goes to show you, you look at your life, and everybody is dealt a hand. Everybody is dealt a hand, and you can choose to play your cards that are on the table or sit there and fold. And that's your choice. Nobody can make that choice for you because, as I said, we're going to be very real on this show. Okay? Your choices are your choices. The only thing you can control is what you do and what comes out of your mouth. Okay? Everything else, everybody's going to put their 2 cents in. And some people ain't worth 2 cents. Okay? Now, I'm going to just have, Miss Winnie, because Kelly's Choice is a big part of my life. Kelly's Choice Cares is a big part of my life. I want to have Miss Winnie just share just a little bit about Kelly and her journey, and we'll go into a little bit bigger things on the show here in just a minute. Miss Winnie, why don't you share just a little bit of your journey with Kelly and cerebral palsy?
Before I do that, I want to say something about this young girl that spoke, and she said something that nobody has ever said. And she said she asked her mom, why does she walk different?
Mm-hmm.
And I loved her, young girl, 17. I really enjoyed her whole conversation, her whole message. And she is finally one of those ones that's coming out of not wanting to speak, not wanting to share their journey, accepting who she is. That was her biggest topic, accepting who she is. Because where she's at, nobody in her school had cerebral palsy. Nobody.
Wow.
So being singled out must have been something for her to experience and wonder why. Why am I the only one walk like this? Why am I the only one, that's different? So to ask your parents, why do I walk different? Why does my sister walk like that and I walk like this? I thought that was very courageous of her to speak on, because nobody has ever, and I've been on the radio since 2015, never had anybody share that moment at all. But, and I asked, I said, well, had you ever shared that with your mom? She said, yeah, that's when I found out that her parents knew. She shared it with them. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was good. Great question, So I just wanted to share that. I thought it was very courageous of her. Her whole message was awesome. And I just thank God for her reaching out to me to want to share her story when she saw the flyer. So people like that, this is what the world need to know and hear. While y'all sitting out here being ignorant to the fact of people with any type of disability, period, and not knowing the significance of individuals with different abilities, you got people out here wondering why. You got people wondering why. And people making changes in the world. And people doing phenomenal things in the world to make a difference in other people's lives.
Right.
So I just really wanted to share that, because that's my purpose of doing what I do. And so anyway, yeah, I just thought that was a really great message, and her conversation was very good. So I'm Edwina Wilson, the CEO of Kelly's Choice, founder of Kelly's Choice. My daughter Kelly is 34. She has cerebral palsy, a history of seizures. She was paralyzed she had a stroke on her right side. She has amblyopia. She has echolalia. I'll never pronounce it right, I'll be honest with y'all. But what it is a condition that she repeats things that she hears. And I know sometimes if you hear me on the radio, or if she's on live with me, she'll repeat things that I say. So that's what that is. It's a condition where she repeats things. She has, I said amblyopia, echolosia, whatever it's called. She repeats. She is intellectually delayed and physically delayed. Yeah, and it's a few things, but she's my world. And I've learned so much for Kelly. She's my strength. She keeps me going every day. And I wake up and knowing that I have a purpose every day. Literally, like I have a purpose every day I wake up. I have a reason to go to bed at night. And whatever kind of mood I wake up in, I know it's going to be different when I get up in the morning, because I have Kelly to smile at me no matter what. Literally no matter what. The journey has been rewarding and challenging because I would never say it's easy because it's not. When you have to make sure that Kelly gets tucked in bed at night, put in bed at night, um, put her pajamas on her, brush her teeth, wash her face at night, put her scarf on, all those things every day. In the morning, wake up, you gotta get her out the bed, you gotta, get her to the bathroom, you gotta wash her up. You the one that got to clean her and bathe her and wash her face and brush her teeth and comb her hair and put her socks, shoes, panties, bras, t-shirts, dresses, whatever you go to put her, you gotta do all of that. Mm-hmm. And I've been doing this for 34 years. 34 years, literally my hands on for 34 years. She rarely stay over anybody's house. Maybe her sister house, maybe my grandmother house before she passed. And, my dad, that's because my daughters was there, never my dad alone. And my mom, I did not have a great support system. But that's okay because God built me the way He did because He knew, but I didn't know that this journey would come along. So He built me strong enough, capable enough, and able enough to be able to care for my daughter, which I've been doing again for 34 years. And I thank God that I am that person that's been able to do this because she allowed me to create all of these things that I do within Kelly's Choice. Because one, what won't somebody invite Kelly to? That's okay. I'll create it.
Right.
What won't somebody, so all those things is what I do. I create these things because Kelly has cerebral palsy. So why not do a cerebral palsy conference or summit or whatever surrounding cerebral palsy? And why not make it globally for everybody else out there that can relate in one way or another, and that's cerebral palsy, because everybody's condition is totally different. Everybody's. So that's who I am, and that's why I do what I do.
The amazing thing is, and you just said something that brought up a question in my mind. I think you started, Kelly, you started the radio and Kelly's Choice. What was it, 2014? Is that right?
I started Kelly's Choice in 2015.
2015.
14.
Okay, so it was 14. The question that I have, and because I went through this a lot, as outgoing as I am, I had a couple of friends that I would go over their houses, but again, not very often because I sat through the not getting invited to parties or the I want to be part of that, but I was never invited to it. You look at it and it's like, okay, what now? Before Kelly's Choice and especially the world of CP, we are often very, very secluded. We are unthought of. We are pushed aside. How did you deal with it before? I mean, because I know Kelly can verbalize some things, but I know she really couldn't express how she felt. How did you deal with it before Kelly's Choice when you weren't able to create, these events to have people with CP, including Kelly included? How did you deal with it before? What were your thoughts before?
Well, it wasn't that I couldn't create anything. I just never had that thought or that idea, and when it became a dream in 2011, that's when it became real. Like, wow, this is really my life. Wow, God gave me that. God wants me to do these things.
Right.
So I just didn't create this. God instilled that in me. God gave me that purpose and that vision and that idea and that approval to say, okay, Wayne, you got this. I chose you. And I chose you within your dream while you were asleep at night, and gave me this big vision of my life. and gave me this big vision of the journey I've been on for 20 something years at that particular time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And when I woke up and I saw that, and I was like, wow, God want me to do this. And this is really what I felt like. I woke my husband up out of sleep, pushing him and shaking him,
Uh-huh.
and wanted to share my dream with him. And with the magnitude of the dream, not to go in it, but the magnitude of the dream with the people in it, and as many people as it was, as it was in that Jesus, as it was in that dream. And I shared with Corey, and I said, "What do you think?" Because I knew what I was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
But when my husband said, "People want to be heard," I shook him again. I said, "Boy, get out of here." Because that's what I felt like. People want to be heard. Now, one day I'll share on your story on your show about the dream, and so y'all can get a clear vision of what I mean by that.
Tune in next week, y'all. Tune in next week. Go ahead, Ms. Winnie.
So what now here you are. I'm 7 years in from 2014, is 3 years after 2011. So I never stopped thinking about it from 2011 to 2014, but I felt like I had to physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually prepare myself for what God had for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I saw big. I saw God, and God is big. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And with God, you got to make sure you're right, because you're working with families like me, people like me, people like my daughter. So you're working with families and the individuals. So I was like, oh no, I ain't ready for this. I got to be ready for what God had for me. So here I am 7 years later, after I started in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
And before all of this, I still did the same thing. I took her out, I groomed her, I molded her, I shaped her. I just took care of her, and I loved on her, and I dressed her, and she smiles all the time. And I think that smile gravitates to everybody.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree 100%. That smile, Kelly smile like a ray of sunshine. When you see it, you just got to go toward it.
Yeah, and you make her happy, because otherwise she would not know how to be happy without somebody creating a great life for her the best you know how. And I say that because it wasn't always like it is today. I have
Mm-hmm.
4 young adults.
Mm-hmm.
My oldest is 36, Kelly 34. My youngest daughter is 30. She just turned 30 last month. And February, my son just turned 29.
Mm-hmm.
So I have 4 young adults. So with Kelly having a disability, if 4 other children that didn't, I didn't make a difference in Kelly. I treated Kelly just like I treated everybody else.
Right.
I talked to Kelly just like I talked to them, and just everything else. So I didn't raise her, like a baby. I
Right.
did not talk to her like a baby.
Coddle.
Okay, I did not do that.
Right.
Because I wanted her to grow up and understand language as she got older,
mm-hmm.
to the language that she needed to understand, and not in baby form. And when people talk to her, hi, how you doing? It's like, she's not a baby.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even want people to do that.
Right.
Because I don't do it.
Do you
talk to her like see her?
Do you feel like a lot of people do that with their children?
Yes, I really do.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And is that they think because of the disability they yes. go toward it? Yeah, that absolutely. I can definitely tell you, my mom was the same way. She learned real quick that DJ has a mouth and he's going to use it, and boy does he use it. So my mom, and see, my mom was a single parent, and single parenting is tough. Without that village, without my grandmother and grandfather, God rest their soul now, and my brother, I'm gonna tell you, that was there were times, boy, I can tell you, and you can relate to this too. being a single parent, having to do it all yourself, all the therapy appointments, all the doctor's appointments, all the medical equipment. How am I going to pay for this? I told you we were going to get real on this show. We about to hit it, y'all. I really feel that it's so overwhelming sometimes. Sometimes I just call my mom. Okay. Sometimes I just call my mom just to hear her talk, just to say thank you, just to say I love you, because she has done so much. My mother worked 3 jobs to take care of 2 children. I have no idea how you did it with 4. My Lord have mercy. Now, I will say this. My mother fought tooth and nail, and she had to sometimes dig. And I mean, my grandparents as well. My grandparents fought tooth and nail for me. But mom had to learn, and I think all parents have to learn how to fight for their children. You don't come out of the gate knowing how to do that. Would you agree, Miss Wilson?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No.
Mm-hmm. I just so you were a single parent for a long time. I mean, how long did you go by yourself, so to speak?
Oh my gosh. So I was married for 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, being as though my ex-husband was military, he was gone most of the time.
Right.
So even being married, I was still that single mom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Everything, everybody,
Yeah.
all of them. So it went from 1 to 2, and that's Kelly. Then from Kelly, then a few years later, Kanisha, she's 30. And then from Kanisha to Kelvin. And Kanisha and Kelvin only 11 months apart.
Wow.
So now you're talking, I think my worst years of being single by yourself, shall I say, and raising my children was when I had Kanisha, and then 11 months later I had Kelvin, and so here I am with a newborn, and that was a bad delivery because I went into labor like suddenly. Went to the doctor that day, fine, got home, and suddenly I'm in labor and like, what's going on?
Wow.
I got home, was ready to feed my children. I used to work at Norfolk Public School administration building downtown Norfolk, and I didn't live too far from there in Virginia Beach. But I get home and I mean everything's fine that day, all day, and probably like an hour and a half. I'm trying to feed my kids, and I'm in pain. Like I'm in so much pain, like it stopped everything.
Yeah.
So I get to the hospital, and they're telling me after they take me to labor and delivery, you're hemorrhaging, and all I do is I'm running down the hall on a cart on the bed, and they pushing me in and trying to put me under so they could immediately take this baby, because it could have been me, the baby, or both of us that would not have made it.
Whew.
So here I am, this mother. My ex-husband at the time was out to sea. They had a war during that time in 91. And so I had a C-section, emergency C-section. So I'm home at this point, going through. I have stitches, an infant, another baby, like hadn't turned a year old yet, Kelly in a wheelchair, and then I got Ebony. So I got 3 babies basically and Ebony. And I said, I did it. But then my mom called me and she said, what are you doing? I said, just taking care of my kids. Long story short, my mom came down like, girl, what is your problem?
You need some help.
You need some help. So thank God my mom did come down that year. She helped me out, and you sit down and you don't need to have a relapse or setback, and let yourself heal, because that was serious. Because at that time it wasn't no just shortcut. It was a long cut because we need to cut you and pull out quick. And so I did have help that time. But that was my worst time of being that mom alone. and with basically three babies, an infant, a newborn, an infant, and Kelly. And then I have Ebony. I can remember the way I got around was I brought one of them double strollers. I
Mm-hmm.
had Kelly in the back and I had the other two babies together. So I created things even back then. I've always
Made a way.
you know, yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
again, I just thank God, DJ, that God continue to give me the strength in the midst of it and just be the mother I am today. And I have great kids. People that know me know I love my kids.
Mm-hmm.
And, I have to pat myself on the back to say that I didn't have to worry about those harshful moments of life of my kids being in the streets,
Mm-hmm.
gangs and drugs and alcoholics and all that stuff. I had to worry about that.
Right, right.
I thank God that I was that mom that was stern and strong and in the midst of everything, just being able to deal with three children and four children, one with a disability.
Mm-hmm.
So I made it.
I listened to that, and in because I used to, I really didn't understand, my disability. I didn't come to grips with it, I would say, until I was about 16, 17 years old. I fought it, because I wanted to be different. I wanted to be different than I was. I was always looking for a way out, a way to be normal. And you and I have talked about this on occasion. There are times when you think that you've hit bottom, but you actually haven't. And I can tell you, just from that's just, I mean, with three children at that time and no, husband overseas, there were times when my mom, would say, had it not been for Nanny and Pop, they help put food on the table. I mean, it's just one of those things where the village that you're talking about through Kelly's Choice started for you very early in life. I mean, it was like you realize, talking about always being able to make a way. I want to share this story with you. I don't think I've ever shared this story on the air, so you guys bear with me. I used to walk. Our house is in front of a round circle, like around the block street, that connects off of two other streets, and it's a big round circle. Well, it flooded a lot when it rained, and I told Mom, I said, Mama, I want to go out and play in the water, but I want to run. And Mama got my walker and put on my water shoes and a pair of old shorts, and I held on to my walker and I ran through that water after it rained all the way down to the end of the street. And I got tired and I couldn't make my way back, so my mom walked with me, and she set me on the back of my walker and she pushed me down the street on my walker like I was a motorboat, and it had little clickers on the back of the wheels, so when you walk, you hear click, 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 click the whole time. So Mom is running with me on the back of the walker, and I said, Mama, I'm a boat. Mama, I'm a boat. And she said, No, you're a motorboat. And she said, Yeah, your engine's getting tired. So we get to the front of the house, and I remember the conversation that I had with Mom. I said, Hey, Mom, thanks for helping me be normal. And she looked at me and she said, Don't ever think that you're not normal. She said, You are my son, and my son is normal and can do anything else everybody can do. You just have to find a way to do it. And I guess kind of that was when I was about, I would say 13 or 14 then, 12 or 13, somewhere in there. That was, I think, when the realization started to kick in, started to understand, just to start to understand. Now, I want to close out with this because I'm a type of person. It takes a lot to get me mad. It takes a lot to push me to that breaking point, and everybody has one. Miss Wilson has one. I have one. All of you have one that are tuning in right now. And I want to say this to my CP family. And when I say CP family, you got to be careful because everybody is not your friend. Just because people are going to tell you something. I look at life, and I got about 15 minutes. We may go a little longer. I'm not even sure because I get rolling on this thing. We might go another hour. Goodness gracious! I want to say this because I see people with disabilities and cerebral palsy. Charles, that's a great comment. I'll get to that in just a minute. Uh, I see people with cerebral palsy be taken advantage of left and right. Okay, and I'm not a person to be played. On my profile, the way I am, this is the way I run. I have 3 rules in my life, and I've said these 3 rules several times, and I probably have said them to Miss Winnie. I'm not sure if I have or not. Rule number 1: do what you say you're going to do. That's just me. I do exactly what I say I'm gonna do. 99% of the time, I try to do the best I can with what I've got in front of me. Number 2, don't lie to me. Don't lie to me. I cannot stand to be lied to for any reason. And number 3, if and this is a biggie. This is a biggie because don't go behind my back and say you're going to do something and go behind my back and do something different. Because I don't play that. I don't play that message that thing right there. When you get in that's when DJ comes out the chair and the footrest comes off and I'm gonna start swinging because I can't look. I can handle the word no, and I think people feel bad for people with cerebral palsy, and they feel like they have to do something. And I want to. This I don't know if this is a stereotype. I really don't know what the word is for it, but I want to say this. I personally can handle the word no, but it's the way you go about it. And I think people have to realize know your worth. Know what you're worth. Understand that everybody with CP has to understand, or any disability, or anybody out there. This is for anybody. Know your worth because you are worth your weight in gold, and don't be afraid to get that message across because people are gonna, oh man, we can do this and we can set you up with this and we can, man, you gonna just, you know what? You got to ask a question. You got to ask questions and understand what you're getting into. Understand what does the person really want from you? What is the vision that the person has? Is that vision on your same level? Do you support that vision? Do you see where they're going? What are you going to get out of it? Okay, I'm going to be real. Are you going to get paid? When you're working your butt off and you are trying your best and you are doing something for somebody, that's okay. That's okay. Sometimes it's not all about money, but sometimes got to pay them bills. And am I right or wrong, Miss Winnie? I want to make sure we're on the same level. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, yeah, I agree. You got to know your worth. You definitely got to know your worth, and know to. I guess I'm gonna say this: like, if somebody come to you and say, "I can give you this event," um, for this, but don't put this in it. So you got to know what your event is about,
Mm-hmm.
how it means to you, and not let nobody take that away from you, because you
Mm-hmm.
know your worth, you know what you're doing, you know how this is going to impact somebody else. And because they don't see it, that don't mean you don't see it, and you're not going to tell me what basically my vision is, or and try to belittle me,
Yeah.
because you think it's not worth it in your venue, or worth it to do it at this place, or worth it to speak on my show or whatever.
Sure. Sure.
So you definitely got to know your worth. You got to know what you're putting out there. You got to know the value of you and what you do, and not let nobody belittle you or try to take advantage of it. Absolutely.
Because I think that right there, people will try to take advantage of you because you have a disability. They think you don't know any better, and that's wrong. Miss Winnie talked about this earlier. People with cerebral palsy or any disability from that matter, there are smart people, and don't think that just because we sit in a chair, we don't know what is going on. And yeah, I went ahead and censored it because I'm trying to tell you, y'all don't understand. People think, and I'm gonna be real, people think that because you have CP, you're stupid. Let me explain something. You are not. Okay? I'm not gonna pull no punches. I don't like the word stupid, I don't like the word retarded, and I don't like the word crippled. And I do not use those words, because if you're going to call me that, we're going to fight. Punches are going to be thrown. My karate is coming out because I fight for what I believe in, and you got to stand up for yourself. Now, and in the same thing, something that Charles just said, and I want to point this out. The box is big with CP. Doc and education pros have a hard time putting a label on me. On the one hand, I was not put in school until the age of 11. However, on the other hand, I am gifted. Now at 36, I have physiological issues due to that. And he said, let me get the more of it here. He said, I thank Kelly and you, DJ, for giving me the opportunity to talk about it. I mean it. And when you have a struggle trying to get words out, see, this is kind of what I'm talking about. Charles is one of the most intelligent people I've ever met. And he has backed me along with Miss Wilson, and I call her Miss Winnie, y'all. Y'all got to understand, I'm going to bounce back and forth. They've supported me since day one. And when I first met Charles, he was in there with me from the ground level all the way up. When we started talking, Charles and I got serious real quick. Charles is an athlete. I'm an athlete. We both compete hard. We both train hard. And because Charles has speech issues, he can still type. He can still get out what he wants to get out. And it's beautiful because we communicate on a level and we both understand that we have CP, but that don't stop us. But see, somebody else that sees Charles that doesn't know him and hears him try to communicate is going to think one thing, okay? And when they think that, they're going to be busted in the nose because that right hook will come across and knock them out. And I've told this story because people need to realize that it doesn't matter that you have CP, okay? It matters on what you do with the hand you've got. And that's the truth, guys. Talking about life and getting real, it matters with what you do with what you got. The hand you're dealt are the cards that are played. You can't change them out, and you don't get new ones. And I want people to understand that this show every week, I'm gonna push issues that are hard to talk about because we got to get through them. We got to understand that we are people too, and just because we have a disability and we do things differently, that's why Miss Winnie always says differently able. Think about it, people. Come on now. Differently able doesn't mean not able. It means we have a different way of doing things. And understand, once we figure out our way, that's what works for us. My way might not work for you. Charles's way might not work for you. Miss Winnie's way might not work for you. Kelly's way might not work for you. But you know what? You can learn something and find a way for yourself to pick up the box. Now, what do I mean by that? I wanna tell this story because it's very important to me, and it means a lot. I haven't shared this with Miss Winnie either, so two firsts today, really, on the world premiere show of My CP Does Not Define Me. We had got our DJ equipment in from high school. We got our DJ equipment in, and we're in the room. And I look at the DJ equipment in front of me, and Mr. Hall calls me up. And he says, "Come up here." And I was the first person to touch it. I'm talking about mixing boards, channel boards, all this stuff, turntables. I was the first person to put my hands on it. I was the first person to see it hooked up. I was the first person to go on the air. And we're going to put the equipment away. There's a 100-pound box on the floor that covers the equipment and goes over the equipment. I went up to help put the equipment away. And there were about 12 kids in the class at the time. And I remember them looking at me saying, "You can't lift that. You're going to turn your chair over. Ain't no way you can pick up that box." Mr. Hall got up, and I saw a look on his face I'll never forget. And he looked at me, and he looked at him, the person that thought I couldn't pick it up. And he looked at me, and he said, "Pick up the box." And I looked at him, and something went through me. I can't even describe what it was. And I took one end of that box and lifted one end of that box of that 100-pound wood covering, and somebody else got on the other side, and we picked that covering up and pressed it over that DJ equipment. Now here's the thing. I could have stopped right there with what that young man said. Is, "You can't lift that. You're in a chair. You're going to tip your chair over." After everybody left, Mr. Hall asked me to stay after class for a minute. And it was something he said to me. And it was this. People are going to tell you you can't do something. If anybody ever tells you you can't do something, you come to me and I'll show you how. Now, what that meant to me was at that moment in my life, being 16, 17 years old, there's nothing you cannot do. And if you find something that you think you can't do, you come to me and we'll work out how to do it. And that's true. That's true, Charles. It is time to get our story to the world. It is time to get our story to the world. And it's time to stop being second fiddle to what the world tells us. When the world tells us we can't do something, roll them over. Because we deserve to be in Congress. We deserve to be president. We deserve to be first lady. We deserve to be on the highest points of the world. We deserve to be there too, because we have the effort. And we have the technology, and we have the intelligence. We have the ability. We just have to find our way to do it. And I personally am going to take this show, and I'm not going to stop every Wednesday from 2 to 3 o'clock. We're going to talk about stuff dealing with CP every week. And every week, I'm going to do my best to get the issues out there that you want to talk about. So if you've got issues that you want to hear about, whether it's handicap parking, medical equipment, IEPs, whether it's CP in general, whether it's different types of CP, what makes you angry, what makes you happy, email me. let me know. The Sports Menu Radio Show at yahoo.com. CarterDJ85 at gmail.com. Y'all can find me. Look me up on Facebook. Dennis Carter. Look me up on Facebook. Email me. Let me know the topics that you want to talk about. Okay? I'm going to ask Miss Winnie, is there anything that you want to talk about before you close? I know we got the event on October 6th. Why don't you talk a little bit about that and let us know what's coming up?
Okay, so yeah, this is great. So we just had the first annual Cerebral Palsy Global Virtual Conference, CP Conference. So that was phenomenal. And like I said, I just jumped out and did it. Like, okay, we're going to do this. And when you do stuff like that, you just believe because within your heart and that you're given opportunities and you set this platform up for a purpose and with great intentions on helping people and giving them a moment to just share their journey that is going to work. And it did. So I was like, okay, so before the end of the week came, like Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, more emails came in and inbox messages came in. And I was like, okay, so me in my mind always going, I'm like on 1,000. And I said, okay. So I thought about it. I said, so what's the next event? So I thought about World CP Day, which is October the 6th, Tuesday, October the 6th. So Tuesday, October the 6th, I put a save the date out there. We're having the Cerebral Palsy. It's called the International. Oh, wait a minute, hold on, because I created another event even after that one. I haven't put out there yet. Always do something, y'all. So hold on just 1 minute. Let me get the proper right words for this one.
That's all right, Miss Winnie. Go ahead. We got time, sweetie.
Because I was getting ready to read the other one and I ain't even put it up. I don't get it up yet. It's called the International Cerebral Palsy Virtual Experience. 1 day only, World CP Day on Tuesday, October the 6th. And it's from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. I might change it from 9 to 7. I might change it. I've been thinking about that.
Yep.
So we're going to do that. And if any, literally like the people that I reached out to first were the people that that had already sent me messages that I, was not able to bring them on during those 8 days last week. So I reached out to them and they were so excited and they were still coming in. So I got those lined up and the people that was on the post when I first posted this a couple of days ago. So, some of those are, all of them that reached out to include DJ is lined up with us already. So I'm still working out how I'm going to lay it out, every 30 minutes, take 10, every 30 minutes, take 10, or, 15 minutes, take 10. So I'm still trying to, figure out how I'm going to do that because it's only a 1 day experience. And it's going to be great. I'm going to tell you already, it's going to be great. I'm so looking forward to it. So if you want to be a speaker, to be able to share your journey, your story, to be a part of that, please just email me at Wena Wilson. Put in the subject when you go to the email, Kelly's Choice Cares at Gmail. Kelly's Kellys Choice Cares CARES at gmail.com. In the subject line, put October 6th, and I'll know what it's about. And just share your information below. And you could be the individual that has cerebral palsy, or you could be the parent of your individual that has cerebral palsy, or you could be the spouse of the individual that has cerebral palsy, or you could come on together and share as a duo. So, because sometimes as a duo, you can, piggyback off of each other, which is a great thing, especially like a husband and wife team. And whether the mom has cerebral palsy or the husband don't, or the husband does and the mom don't. But that journey of where you are today, I'm gonna tell y'all something. I'll say that because it's one young lady that reached out to me. She has cerebral palsy. She's a mother and she has 4 children and a husband. Her husband does not have cerebral palsy. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to her story and many, many more. A lady coming on there, she's going to talk about how to transition your child, um, that has a disability and prepare them, in case their parent passed before them. I thought that was phenomenal. Yes, let's talk about that.
Wow.
So resources that relates to cerebral palsy or a disability like that particular lady. Not to get far off of cerebral palsy, but that's a reference that anybody, can relate to. So I wanted her to talk about that. So I'm looking forward to that. And I got another one coming up, but I can't tell y'all. But just stay tuned. Follow DJ Carter, Dennis Carter, follow Kelly R. Smith. Because between DJ and me, that's where you're going to find it at.
Come on now.
You're going to find it there. Yes. So I share with DJ and DJ share with me, and we're going to keep it like that and keep it going. And we will hope that all of you all, because it definitely takes a village. It takes a village, y'all. So if y'all could share our information,
please
share the videos, share the things that we've done thus far, the stories we're posting, the videos of the conference. If y'all share, we can make this thing bigger than us, and we can still continue to be a part of everything we do, because you grow and you evolve and you get better and you get greater and you become like Kyle that got these new crutches, and he's excited about his new crutches, and he didn't realize it was something out there that was better than the cuff on his arm. So now the crutches he got, he realized his posture is straighter and he's standing up better and his arms can relax versus just hang. And I'm looking forward to seeing Cal's growth and, in October, because I am bringing him back so he can share that. So this is what it's all about. We don't have to make it a one-time thing. Come back. Let's hear what, changes happen. And,
exactly.
Even if it's good or bad, because if it's good, you can help someone. And if it's not so good, you can still help someone, because you don't get promising messages. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not always about throwing out hope, but you can let people know where, my journey may not be your journey. So unfortunately, this didn't work for me. Not saying that it's not going to work for the next person. And it's okay to be honest like that, because it's the way of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody's journey is the same. My story is not your story. My journey is not your journey.
Exactly.
So let's just be honest about that and be transparent about our journeys, because you'll be surprised of who's sitting back listening, that you're giving hope to, that you're reaching out to. I accept myself now, and I accept my condition. I accept who I am. I accept cerebral palsy does not define me. It's just a diagnosis that I was given at birth, and I have to live with it. And I'm going to love me, and I'm going to love on me hard, and I'm going to love me so I can love somebody else. And I can do all these great things to inspire people, not because of who I am, but because what I do with what cerebral palsy has taught me. Siobhan says, use your body, use what your body can do. So if you could do karate like DJ, allow yourself to do karate. If you could bodybuild or what is it called? She does competition. If your body allows you to then go for it. Mm-hmm. If you could write like Talia, go for it. Just do what your body allows you to do. Don't overextend yourself. If you feel it, slow down, step back for a minute and reevaluate yourself, and then come back. And if it's that, it's that. If it's not, you find something else, go for it. Everybody has a gift. Everybody has talent. Everybody has something that they can do. And I just hope that our messages and all the videos of the speakers will touch and help the next person.
And I'm gonna close out with the my CP does not define me thoughts for the day. There's 2 thoughts that's going to help you out. You can write these down. You can stick them on your fridge. You can post them on your forehead. You can get a tattoo. Do what you got to do. The 2 thoughts for the day I want to leave out. A lot of people claim about, oh, I want to win the lottery. Got to win this money. Got to win this money. $268 million. Got to win this money. You can't win the lottery if you don't buy a ticket. And here's more than that. Last thought I want to leave you with. You hear, you can't do this, you can't do this, you won't do this, you won't make it. The only thing you cannot do are the things that you don't try. So I want to leave you with those 2 things. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to the My CP Does Not Define Me world premiere episode 1. We're going to see you next Wednesday at 2 o'clock for the My CP Does Not Define Me episode 2. Y'all get ready. You can reach me at the Sports Menu Radio Show at yahoo.com. You can find me at CarterDJ85@gmail.com. You can hit me up on Facebook Messenger. Just don't message me after the 10 o'clock because, brother, I ain't going to answer. Just want to let y'all know. Want to thank my very special guest, like a mama to me, Miss Edwina Wilson, founder and CEO of Kelly's Choice Cares. Remember, if you guys want to come out on October 6th and be part of this World CP Day, once-in-a-lifetime virtual conference, come out and email her at kellyschoicecares@gmail.com. You can follow her on Kelly's Choice, Kelly R. Smith. Please, please, please share